Hey guys, Nick here, and welcome to the Omniverse of Nick and part 11 to What If Frieza Turned Good. Like always, before we begin today's episode, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the Omniverse, and further acknowledge and support the future of this channel and the Omniverse by checking out the Discord, Patreon, and both Google Docs on the homepage, as well as requesting future what ifs and expectations, and so on in the comments section. With all that said, let's get started. Last we left off, Boo had been resurrected after Frieza became a golden Majin. Cooler and Deborah are dead, and Boo and Bobbity have fully unleashed themselves, and Boo prepares to unleash himself against all the fighters, and Frieza and Goku have made their way to the battlefield. And Bobbity proceeds to thank Frieza and everyone concerned. Without them, he would have never been able to bring Boo back to life, and he has Frieza especially to thank. He would have never thought that Cooler teaming up with him would have resulted in not only getting his brother on his side, but both ultimately turning to Boo being brought back so easily. He didn't think he would get him at all, but Frieza definitely delivered with that golden power of his. Now, he has no more use for him. Boo is his main target. Frieza angrily yells to Bobbity, Lord Frieza is commanded by no one. And he powers to Golden and rushes towards Bobbity and Boo. But Bobbity just holds his hands out and says Frieza forgot one thing. He's still his puppet. And Bobbity flares his eyes and Frieza proceeds to puff up and explode. So yeah, Frieza gets Spopovich's death here. And it's ironic because Frieza killed Spopovich. So you could call this karma? Question mark? But yeah, he's still under Bobbity's command, so yeah, it's surprising that Bobbity didn't do this to Vegeta. But, you know, we're not really going to dive into that. But Goku, everybody's in pure shock and silence here. Goku especially. But this silence isn't just sadness or a bit of anger. This is fury. Because not only did Frieza turn bad again, and he had to bring him back, but now he's gone. Frieza has died for the first time. No mecha, nothing. Just pure dead. And Goku's just looking down in fury. No one knows what to expect or is even looking at Goku. But then everyone feels a humongous power. And Goku erupts into a furious, angry Super Saiyan 3 amazing aura that shakes the entire foundation of the wasteland. You thought Super Saiyan 3 Goku's power in canon was rough? Dude, with his training with Golden Frieza, this Super Saiyan 3 is near, like, Buhan / inching very, 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 very close to Vegito. So yeah, like I said, Goku's not that far off from Golden Frieza, except kind of, because he had to pull Super Saiyan 3 Kaioken and was lucky to not be killed by Majin Golden Frieza. But he erupts with this power and charges the biggest and most furious Super Saiyan 3 Kamehameha we have ever seen. And he fires it right at Bobbity and Boo. Now, Boo does regenerate this, but like Vegeta's final explosion, except this beam and explosion's bigger, it would take him just a tiny bit longer than Vegeta's canonical final explosion to regenerate. So he's almost completely wiped out. Bobbity is able to barely get out of the way and shun himself with a barrier, but he's on death's door. Very, very much more so than the final explosion, because it was both that and the likes of Piccolo, which almost brought him on death's door. So yeah, this is kind of worse. And Supreme Kai points and looks down at Babidi and says that his time is up. And with a single chop, Babidi is killed. Goku rushes at Buu when he regenerates and just starts beating the absolute crap out of him. Super Saiyan 3 Goku is consumed by rage. Buu tries to mimic the Kamehameha, but Goku doesn't even let him. He just breaks through it and keeps mercilessly attacking him, not even giving him a chance. He's blasting, he's punching, he's kicking, he's just throwing, mercilessly attacking Buu. And we haven't seen this rage from Goku in a long, long time. Well, I mean, besides fighting him against Majin Golden Frieza, but that's beside the point. But all of Goku's rage has in turn made Buu angry. So angry, Evil Buu is released. And at this point, Goku's fury, and the fact he's starting to snap out of it barely, enables him to go Super Saiyan 3 Kaioken. But Goku made a big mistake doing this. He drops not to base form, but to Super Saiyan because the rage is still there. But he can't maintain Super Saiyan 3 Kaioken, let alone even 2 at this point, because he was fighting Frieza and used Super Saiyan 3 Kaioken and dropped out, and only got the Super Saiyan 3 and everything because of adrenaline and rage, used almost all his power with the Kamehameha, and then overbursted it by attacking Buu, and then Super Saiyan 3 Kaioken. It's like, just like before, against Majin Golden Frieza, except he doesn't even get to rush. He literally powers in and out and goes into Super Saiyan. So yeah, he's not doing any fighting. And while this is going on, Majin Buu, the fat one, and Evil Buu don't even pay attention to this power and drop of Goku or any of the fighters. They just start fighting each other like cannon. And Buu tries to use the candy beam, and Evil Buu reflects it, but at this point, everybody knows that fat one, they know that if this evil one absorbs this fat one, who's seemingly on their side and didn't do anything bad yet, that could pose grave danger. And clearly this evil one's the one to watch out for. And even Goku knows this. Everybody around the area knows this. So Piccolo, Shin, and Tien all reverse Evil Boo's reversal of the candy beam back to him, so it's a reversal of a reversal. And Evil Boo turns into chocolate. And they wait. They wait to see if the fat one is going to attack them. They're just expecting it. Maybe they made the bad decision. But Fat Boo just eats the chocolate and he doesn't do anything. He's not evil. And Shin begins to pick up with Kami that not only is the Grand Kai in there and the South Supreme Kai really influencing Boo, and they can't really do anything about it, but they know because of that and the evil one's essence going away forever, not only does this mean that we'll never see Kid Boo ever in this story or at all ever again, but this means that the threat of Majin Buu was safely prevented by reversing the reversal of the candy beam into that evil Boo. So, all they have to do now is reverse the damage of Babidi and everybody else. So they summon Shenron and everything is restored and everybody who died is resurrected. Obviously, aside from the bad ones. So when Frieza's resurrected, he looks at Boo, who is just laughing and, being himself. And honestly, this could make way for some fighters scenes where we had those game interactions. And Frieza gets angry at Majin Buu, but Goku calms him down, explains everything, and is just really happy to see Frieza back and everything. And Frieza says the same, and he honestly apologizes for letting himself get so, angry at his brother that he clouded his own judgment for getting this far. And now he thinks he can safely call Goku and everybody else friends. They're no longer just allies to him. And Shin is actually very glad now that he can trust Frieza, because pretty much he was the only one who couldn't, to be really frank. And he also says to everyone he's willing to offer this to anyone who wants to: training with the Z Sword. First, Vegeta begins to say something, but then Shin looks at both his metal arms and says he thinks he can do something about that. And Shin uses his powers and restores Vegeta's hands. Vegeta hasn't had his arms back since they were ripped from him from 19. So the fact he's getting his own limbs back? This is amazing! He was beginning to get used to his metal attachments, but having his arms back, his pride is finally restored. And Vegeta has never felt happier and says he's going to join this training with the Z Sword as a little token of appreciation for the Supreme Kai giving him his pride and his hands back. And he just completely forgets he ever had his robot arms back, or, had them in the first place. Gohan is going to join the training, Piccolo and Tien. So all of them proceed to use the Z Sword and take turns, but then Shin recommends the Kachin, Elder Kai gets released, and then we get the ritual. Mystic or Ultimate Piccolo, Mystic or Ultimate Gohan, Mystic or Ultimate Vegeta, and Mystic or Ultimate Tien. The reason I went through those two things is because people like to use Mystic or Ultimate, so yeah, that's what they all get. They all get this power over the course of this time skip. Meanwhile, at King Kai's, Goku, at this point, Super Saiyan 3 has been long since mastered. If the Buu Saga didn't do it, he's fully mastered it here, and continues to train with Frieza. On this planet specifically, they backed out of the Z-Sword training, because Goku and Frieza are on their own path, especially after the Buu arc has taught them a lot, especially about their new powers. So Goku continues to train with Super Saiyan 3 as a base, and that's only because he wants to try and go through Super Saiyan 3 Kaioken, which in my opinion is the coolest fan-made transformation that literally should have came to fruition. And Frieza trains with the Golden form, which is honestly past since mastered with the True Golden, but that's not why he's training with this form as a base. He also unlocks the 5th form of his brother, and then proceeds to use 100% in his Golden form, his True Golden. So he's pretty much trying to maximize anything he can to make himself stronger. And King Kai, honestly, he never would have expected Frieza to be training on his planet with Goku and everything that has happened. But considering all of what has happened, Frieza's more than redeemed himself, even if Babidi really made him think twice about it. But since King Kai's planet wasn't destroyed, and Frieza's more than made up for what he thought was, everything he told Goku and everyone else about during Namek, and the fact that he's not dead, a lot has made King Kai way more nicer and way more on the prospect of looking into things more clearly. So he doesn't care. They can train on this planet for as long as they want, provided they don't destroy it. But one day, he's not the same. For he gets a message from Shin that someone has just awakened, and that they need to keep Goku, Frieza, and everyone else away from him. Especially Frieza. Beerus has awoken. Now, with Frieza alive, and since Beerus said that if he crossed paths with him again, he'd wipe him out, but surprisingly didn't in Resurrection F, or anything like that in Super, will he actually wipe him out here? What about the Super Saiyan God? And everything like that? What will happen later down the line, especially after Battle of Gods, since Frieza's actually alive and good here? And into Super and the rest of the timeline? How will the story shape into what will soon be the ending? Find out in Part 12.